Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Oh, I forgot to press a button. There we go. So in the promo there, you had 3 Jamokes, myself, Shawn, and Jared. And then you had the well-dressed TJ Aguirre, special guest. TJ looking sharp. He's got that, what was it? I got it. Howie, what's his name? The one guy used to play for the Raiders. Howie Long. You got the Howie Long look going over there. How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, thanks. It is Friday the 13th, and in case you didn't notice, TJ's out there, and he's in the fog somewhere waiting on Jason or Freddie. So hopefully he'll get his picks in before we hear the sounds of chainsaws.
Yeah, and hopefully he's not like the Steelers that just disappear, right?
Easy now. Easy.
I'm a Jets fan, so you know.
Oh, tell me about it.
He's a Jets fan, and he's talking stuff, right? All year long. Oh, let's just get rid of Zach Wilson. Let's get rid of Zach Wilson. Okay. They get rid of Zach Wilson, and they score, what was it, 6-3 or something like that without Zach. Yeah, Zach Wilson was the problem.
Jeff, you can't. Don't give me the game with Joe Flacco.
6-6, and Shawn, no offense, man, but I got a feeling that we could put Jared out there with a little bit of bourbon in him, and he could find 3 points.
He may think he'll think he found 300 because he'll be so.
Speaking of 300, like we always like to do, let's take a look at how we did last week. So before we get going on with the picks for Wild Card Weekend, will be a lot of fun. But one of the things we're going to do before that, real quick, and you weren't here before that, TJ, so excuse us for just a moment. We, at the beginning of the year, we had our preseason on who we like to win what divisions. So it looks like Shawn got the Eagles right. He got the Buccaneers right. He got the Vikings right in the NFC. We all blew it on Arizona. What in the hell were we thinking 18 weeks ago, guys, or 19 weeks ago?
I don't know.
I don't drink, but maybe Jared was sharing some of his bourbon with us through the internet.
The only thing worse about the NFC West for me is wait until you get to the AFC West.
Yeah, so I had the Cowboys. Jared had the Cowboys. We didn't get it there. I had the Lions. I took a flyer. Didn't work. Jared did have the Vikings. Jared had the Saints. They were in it to the last 2 weeks because everybody was in that division till the end. I took the Buccaneers, so I did get one right on that side of the ledger. Over to the other side in the AFC East, I went crazy and took Miami. They looked that way until we found out that their quarterbacks were fragile. And then we got Shawn and Jared taking the heavy favorite Buffalo Bills. They came home. We all sided with the Cincinnati Bengals. The one thing we all agreed on this year we got right. Jared and Shawn went with the Colts. The biggest one of the year is the Colts. I got the Jaguars. That was a pretty lucky guess. Yeah. And then the Chargers, Denver. Oh, my God. Who picked that? Shawn. Oh, my Lord.
I told you it was going to get worse.
MVP pick.
And then Kansas City. So I got the only one with Kansas City in there. So if you had put 100 on all that, I think you'd come out all right with all of us. MVP, I don't think any of these guys got a shot. Burrow maybe. Outside
Burrow has a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Wilson, no chance. Kyle Murray, yeah, he might not even be a Cardinal next year. I had the Cardinals winning the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So you guys still got the Bills, Tampa, and Dallas. One of you will get eliminated there. Before we get going on to last week, you guys want to put some thoughts out on who you like where now? Who's your Super Bowl right now, Shawn?
Oh, wow. I didn't know we were going here.
I'm still surprised. I can't let you script everything.
You know, I still feel good about Buffalo, but Cincinnati's really got it together again. I think they're going to make another run to go to the Super Bowl here.
You don't think like that stuff with the, with the DeMar Hamlin and all of the games being changed around a little bit might actually.
He's in Buffalo this weekend. That's going to be a big motivator for that team. I really expect that team to come out firing this weekend. And no Tua this weekend. That's not even a game. You really want to watch.
Yeah,
they call him Tua Turn and Ova online, so maybe they're better off without him.
So if you had to, I'd go Cincinnati, San Fran at this point. Buffalo still got a good shot too.
Right now, Terry and Charles are over there just giggling with glee because of your San Francisco.
Well, it depends if they look at all my winners with the division or if they're looking at my AFC West, NFC West, and MVP pick. Then they're going, oh no, that's the Friday 13th pick, and San Fran's dead.
Yeah, I'm going to pick San Francisco this week just so they lose and we can get rid of them. All right, TJ, who do you got in the Super Bowl now?
My first initial picks were the Bills, Eagles, so I'm gonna still ride with those selections.
That was a good one right there, the Bills and the Eagles. What about you now, Jared? What are you looking at now?
I'm liking the 49ers and the Bills right now.
49ers and the Bills. Shawn, I tend to agree with you. I think Cincinnati's the most complete team, though at times Burrow does get into a little bit of interception problem. I don't know if that'll be an issue or not. I think it looks to me like, so I have to think that Kansas City has the easiest route because Cincinnati and Buffalo are going to actually play against each other down the line if they come together because of the way the seeding came out, which tells me Kansas City is going to be in the AFC Championship game. It'll be on a neutral site. I kind of like Kansas City in that spot. So I'm going to go Kansas City. I'm going to stay far away from the 49ers. They're going to lose this week. We're going to get rid of the 49ers altogether. I'm going to take I think that the Eagles are the most complete team in the NFC. So I'm going to take the Chiefs and the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl. Let's see what we did last week. Jared last week, my man Jared made $154. Nice job, Jared. Good work. Shawn, you had your first losing week in a while, and you lost a pretty interesting amount of money there. $18. How do you do that?
You go 2-2, and that's all. The 18 is all the juice there.
Yeah, that's what the house makes. And me, I'm just super fade right now. Like I'm like what was like the 90s, the haircut, the super fade. That's me right now. Just fade the hell out of me, and you're going to get rich. Year to date, let's take a look at how we're looking year to date. Our man Jared doing wonderful, down $1,600. Shawn, the regular season champ. You know what you get? You get an atta. You get an atta.
Nice job, Shawn. Nice job.
Attaboy. Yeah, no, good work, Shawn. One of us had to be. Your back must hurt from carrying us. I mean, I've just been about as cold as you can get. 5 negative weeks. This hasn't happened to me in God knows how long, but it's happened now. So together we're down $1,665. But the great thing is we are off to the playoffs. Playoffs? Who said that? I can't remember. Is that Marv Levy who said that?
Herman Edwards, I believe, wasn't it?
No. Herman Edwards was the – you played a game to win.
It was Jim Mora.
Jim Mora, yes.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. So we'll do something a little bit different today. Usually we'll just go through the picks, but we're going to just walk them down game by game and then get everybody's thoughts on the games. And, don't be afraid or bashful to jump in and either rip on the other guy or compliment the other guy or both. So the first game is the Seahawks and the 49ers. I can't wait to see the 49ers lose, but Jared and Shawn and TJ are all on the 49ers. I didn't make a play here, but all right, guys. Why is it the 49ers are going to beat the lowly Geno Smith-led Seahawks once again?
Turnovers. They're just going to – Geno Smith is going to be Geno Smith, and that's – the 49ers' MO is their defense, and that's what's going to make the difference in this game this week. So I think it's really a no-brainer. You got to go with the 49ers.
Oh, he just jinxed the both of you.
Don't do that.
Well, TJ, what you got? You on the same side. The last time all of us were on the same side, it didn't work out so well.
Yeah, I know.
All right, what about you, TJ? Why are you taking an alternative line and not muscling up to the full game line?
Yeah, I just see this being a touchdown game, just one score game, and I'm just taking the one chance of it being a 7-point game. I just think the 49ers just outskill them on every level of the ball. I mean, even at quarterback, I'll take Mr. Irrelevant over Geno Smith right now.
Yeah, that's probably – I mean, I would have probably taken Mr. Irrelevant over Geno Smith too, but at some point in time, Mr. Irrelevant is going to play like he played at Iowa State. Shawn's shaking his head. No,
this works perfect, though. We talked about the playoffs. It's going to be a total different game this week because it's the playoffs. But who better to go against than Seattle, where they're just better all around, like TJ said. So it's going to get his feet wet in the playoffs, and it's a perfect matchup for them because they get their feet wet. They're not going to lose this game. Wild card weekend.
Wow, there's a lot of
wild card weekend. There's tends to be a lot of upsets, but I see 3 of these as there's no way 3 of these teams are losing.
Wow.
And I know that's dangerous to say, but I see no way Seattle wins this game in San Fran. And I think
it's 3 teams that you say can't win, so everybody knows what parlay to put together.
Seattle's not going to win. The Dolphins aren't going to win, and the Ravens aren't going to win. Dolphins and Ravens aren't going to have their quarterback, so they have no
100%.
shot. So, if you're going to do the parlay, I would do those 3 money line, and you're going to get just probably a little less than even money, I think it comes out to, and just put whatever you want to put on it. And if you get some kind of boost, do that. I know I have 100% boost looking on my DraftKings, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to put these 3 teams together and put 100% boost on it, probably get like plus 180, and I'll put $50 on it because that's the most I can do and for the boost. And I don't see it happening.
Jared, sounds like Shawn's been having some bourbon himself.
It's the playoffs, so anything can happen.
Right.
I don't see it.
Absolutely.
Which one of those 3? Well, let's take a poll of which one of those 3 would you be most afraid of?
Which one of the 3? I think it's hard to beat an NFL team 3 times in 1 year. So I would say that
He's rocking with the Niners.
the 49ers would be the one that could get upset. And I do think, and I know Brock Purdy's the best quarterback that's ever played. I know next year I'm never going to bet against Brock Purdy or Pickett I'm going to bet on the Steelers and the 49ers every week next year, damn it. But at some point in time, he's going to play just like he played in college. He's going to get under pressure and make some just ridiculously horrible meme-like plays, which he did at Iowa State.
But you got to remember, Iowa State, they have some skill players, but when they go up against some of those Big 12 teams, they don't have the skill players to the outside like those other teams do. Purdy's got the talent now. They are loaded offensively with the receivers, with Kittle, with McCaffrey. He's got it all. So, that's why it's working so well. And he's confident. I don't think the playoffs are going to intimidate him one bit.
I think the fact that they played, everybody's making a big deal out of the fact that the team that they beat the next week they lost. And Shawn looked it up only 4 times in 17. Or how many? They play 17 games now, right?
4 times. Yeah, but it was only 13 times. Was it 15 times? It worked out that they played the next week, and that opponent. So the 49ers would play an opponent. That opponent would go play the following week, and they would lose every single game. That opponent was only favored in 4 of those 15 games.
Yeah, because they played an absolutely god-awful schedule this year. That was the easiest schedule a division champion has had since a rookie by the name of Mitchell Trubisky, or maybe his second year, I don't remember, led the Chicago Bears to their division title.
There is supposed to be some inclement weather for this game, so that's going to have an impact on somewhat of this game's flow. There may be reduced passing in this game, maybe a heavy run game.
Well, I think
they are
that would favor a
heavy
little
rain.
bit then towards Christian McCaffrey and company, no?
Yeah,
And they just got Elijah Mitchell back.
Yeah, that's a big plus too, I think. And you could see last week they saved a little bit of McCaffrey by putting Elijah Mitchell in there and saving some hits. And right now it does look like the Seattle run defense is one of the worst run defenses in the league. They're ranked 30th against the 8th ranked San Francisco team. I just feel like that this is one of those games where it's tough to beat a team 3 times. I think the 49ers win. I don't think it'll be as big as everybody expects it to be. So I think that TJ might have done the right thing here by taking the alternative line. I should have just bet the 49ers just to make sure they lose. All right, the Chargers go off to visit the Jaguars. Can there have been a more exciting way for the Jaguars to get into the playoffs? It looked like their fate was just about doomed. And then 50-50 on that. I think if they had ruled it a forward pass on the review, they wouldn't have changed it. What do you guys think?
I thought it was a incomplete pass until I saw the replay. Then right away I said it was a fumble. What stinks about those plays now, it's good that they get the call right, but what stinks about those plays is I'm watching it live. I wanted Jacksonville to win. I didn't want to see Tennessee in the playoffs with the backup quarterbacks and stuff like that. But it stinks because you can't get excited till you see the replay. You watch the whole thing and you're like, show me the replay. Was it a fumble? Was it? Once I saw the replay, it was a fumble.
So then you were excited? So you sat there, and then when it was over, you cheered?
No, I was just glad. Like I said, I don't want to see Tennessee in there. It's a good thing for Jacksonville to get in the playoffs and have a home game there. It'll be exciting.
And that should be a lesson for all you Jets fans out there that want to sack Zach Wilson. A few weeks ago, about through the 7th or 8th week of the season, all the talk about Trevor Lawrence was, is he a bust? He can't live up to the hype. And now you probably can't walk through Jacksonville without seeing a Trevor Lawrence jersey. Maybe you can even walk through Pittsburgh and see one, TJ. What do you say?
Hey, it's very possible right now. He's playing out of his mind.
What do you think about this game, TJ?
I actually really like the Jaguars money line. If you want to take a long shot bet, but I'm definitely taking the points with them, just covering my back end. I think the way the coach started the Chargers all last week in a meaningless game, I really think it's going to hinder them. Not having Mike Williams, you saw when he was out of the lineup, the offense really struggled. They just doubled up on Keenan Allen, made him really force it to some no-name receivers, and I think the Jaguars' offense is clicking right now, and they can put up points and keep this a close game.
What about you, Jared? What do you got there, my man?
They're a hot team right now, the Jaguars. But like TJ said, that was not smart by the coach last week to play the starters. You lose Bosa, you lose Mike Williams. That takes a hit to their secondary, and for them to get the ball downfield. And like you say, the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, man, you got to ride the hot hand. And this is the Jaguars' game to lose. And they're going to have the crowd behind them. It's going to be a very exciting, intimidating place for the Chargers to, take care of business there.
And this one, you have 2 units on the over in the first half. You think the game is going to be just lights out?
Well, the Chargers are always the Chargers are always decent in the first half, and they just disappear in the second half. I think they'll be able to score enough. Well, don't forget that's a combined score for the first half.
Of course,
that's not just one team. But hey, if they score the 23, it's 23-0. Then that's fine by me too. As long as they get
23.5, you need to have
23.5. Okay, 24. So
you gave me the line, so I didn't even know.
7. I know I'm saying like 17-7. I'm good. I can see that in the first half. I definitely see that.
It doesn't for me. I like Jacksonville in here too, but Jacksonville has one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They're ranked 28th versus the 3rd best pass offense in the league. Maybe the absence of some players does make a difference. I also think that those teams that come across the country like that you can't kind of harder to go much farther east if you're the Chargers. A lot of times those West Coast teams traveling east, they struggle to go ahead and perform out east. So I'm going to take the Jaguars 1 unit straight up money line to win. The best number I can find is plus 120. I probably live to regret this. And again, as cold as I've been, you probably should just load up on the Chargers and bank that money because I have been bad lately.
I feel better taking the points.
Yeah, I mean 7.5 points. But you got also minus 295, so you're going to make $33. But it's better than losing. I tell you, last 5 weeks I'd be grateful to make $32.
Yeah, I think this is the most unpredictable game, just because Jacksonville and Chargers are very hot and cold. And normally if you told me which I had to pick one, I would go Jacksonville. I would take the money line. But I'm concerned how they played last week up till the end there. That was, they had everything going for them to win that game, and they almost lost it. They didn't play that well.
Yeah,
so I'm concerned about that.
They're probably really tight. And now you got to say, of all the young teams now, that was a playoff game for them, right? So they're essentially 1-0 in the playoffs now, and I feel like that's going to be a relief for them. I think they were tight. They were nervous because they were young. They got the young quarterback. Some of the players, I don't know what the hell was up with Travis Etienne. Was he hurt? I feel like the coach
picked his over
himself a little bit there, Peterson. He just pass, and they were clicking off 3, 4, 5 yards a run at times, and then just back to pass. So sometimes coaches outcoach themselves, I feel like.
Yeah, and 2 thoughts on the other subjects. You said about with Wilson, you said about Lawrence. Well, the difference is Jacksonville went out and got a quarterback guy in Doug Peterson that took care of Lawrence. The Jets have a defensive coach, but they're trying to mentor this quarterback. That's the problem. They need to switch that up. And then the other thing about the Chargers coach playing, what always gets me about fans is you want integrity. You want people to play their game so we can watch games. But then something like that happens, and now he's the worst coach in the league. So you can't have it both ways where teams are playing the starters and we have integrity and we have good games, or you want them to rest them because they get hurt. So I would hate to be a coach, for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would care less. I would do what I want to do. There's always going to be the Muppets up in the top there chirping from the balcony. They're in the balcony. You're in the arena. If you're in the arena, you've already won that battle. Let the chirpers chirp.
And unfortunately, he could have played his starters and nothing happened, and there would have been no talk about it. But the fact that, of course, they had to get hurt. Now you're a bad coach.
Yes, like our friend Chantel said, Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of lambs. That's where I fall down to. All right, Dolphins in the Bills. DeMar's going to be in the building with the number 3. That's probably going to deliver I was going to say a bad word, a ton of energy to the Buffalo Highland. What was it called? I was just there too in the summer for a concert. I can't remember. It sucks growing old, man.
I don't even know.
Highmark Stadium or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, that might be it. I can't keep up with stadium names anymore. They change every couple of years,
So what do you think, TJ? Is this DeMar Hamlin on the sidelines going to deliver so much energy that it can power Buffalo even through a snowstorm?
I really think Buffalo's defense is really going to outscore Miami's offense. Like, I just have zero faith in Skylar Thompson. And the fact that they only put up 9 points against the Jets last week, it was just, Buffalo's going to come out there, light up the offense. I mean, even Nyheim Hines can return one back. Anything's possible, and everything's against the Dolphins.
Maybe
Tyreek Hill's coming off an ankle. Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah, he did 2 last week. So that first one, didn't it look like when you he looked like in a video game where you get a boost button because he was like gone. Did you guys see that?
Hit another gear.
Indeed, for sure. I think it'll be an exciting game. I do think the Bills are the team that are, of course, they're the team that should win this game. But, I think those division rivalries, even with a backup quarterback, they both knew each other kind of well. 14 points is getting towards that edge, Jared. What do you say?
I mean, I don't think I took this game this week because just I think this is a blowout. The points come early or the points come in the second half.
I always loved Jared. I don't think I took this game.
Did I take that game?
You told us you weren't drinking tonight. You got the over in the game.
He was drinking when he made the picks, and now he's not.
Yeah, I got the over because I think maybe Miami will get some points in the second half. But
are you sure?
Yeah. It could be tight in the beginning maybe, and then it gets out of hand. Like it's just garbage time after that. But the Bills, it's like a morale game for them. If Tua was playing this game, it would have been great. It would have been exciting, but this is going to be really bad. Probably not a game you want to watch.
Yes.
Seriously.
I'm sure that the folks on NBC love to hear people. They don't go watch those games. Forget helping them.
I'll be watching
the game
my
goes
game.
over too.
I'll just put it that way. I'll be watching my game.
I feel like that the Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, they'll score some points, but I have a feeling the Bills are going to be just so fired up. I should have maybe taken the Bills to win this game and cover. I can see them coming close to 40 on their own. I'm going to say this. This is going to be my prediction. So it's going to be way wrong. If the Dolphins can score 13, this game is comfortably over. What do you think, Shawn?
Well, see, that's where I went in here. 13.5 points is a ton for a playoff game. It's a ton for a regular season game. But I think this stuff out, like TJ said, where's Miami going to get their points with Buffalo's defense? And then you just said about the 13. So if Miami only scores 13 points, Buffalo only got to score 28 for me to cover. I feel pretty comfortable about that because Buffalo scores pretty much 28 every week. And there's a lot more issues in Miami than even the quarterback, even when Tua was playing.
35 this game. It's probably going to be a typical game.
Even when Tua was playing, Miami started to really have problems. Now their problems just got that much deeper. So it goes further than the quarterback, and Buffalo's defense is really good. So I don't see how Miami's going to score enough to offset for those 13.5. So I'm just going to roll with that. And, if they do return the opening kickoff again, are they going to say it's fixed again? I knew people were going to cry about that at the moment it happened. We live in a fantasy world where everybody thinks everything's fixed.
Yeah, but I don't think the Dolphins would do that because they had playoff aspirations on the line.
The Patriots, yeah.
The Patriots, yeah. Forgive me for being old again. Yeah, I don't think the Patriots would do that because if it would have been fixed, what would have happened was
we'll give the Dolphins 12 points in this game, just to be fair.
I said 13. If If it would have been fixed, then the Patriots would have returned the next one.
Yeah,
It would have been something that was agreed to before the game started there. I have the game going over. You like the Bills, TJ, in the first half, winning by 8 points. I think that's very likely too, because you expect them to come out all fired up, ready to go, and just on 10 in the RPMs.
Yeah, the way I see it is it could really be literally 24-0 at half. And honestly, even if the Dolphins score some garbage time touchdowns and backdoor the way into covering that 13.5, I don't think it's going to bother me. So that's why I just went with the first half and not really sweat anything, and just they can easily just score a touchdown and a field goal and be up 10-0.
Yeah, I think they'll have more points than that too. It's a game that really does favor them. You know what? We talk about Brock Purdy. Thing is, Skyler was drafted before him, so the scouting department in Miami liked him more than they liked Purdy. Now, if Purdy was the quarterback in Miami, do you think they'd be doing better?
Then yeah, they would. Yeah.
I mean, the setup's better, definitely better in San Fran, but it all depends on that Dolphins offensive line. Obviously, you see how their quarterbacks are doing back there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I think no matter
San Francisco that concerns me a little bit, I think their secondary is at best middle of the pack to down, and if you can block that front seven, which teams have struggled to do, but those teams that have been able to block, teams with decent lines, like the Raiders have a good line. They've invested in their line. Quarterback had all day back there to throw the ball and pick that defense apart. So to me, first time they match up with a team with a decent offensive line, they'll be in trouble. I don't know that this is that game. But anyway, I agree. I think the Bills smoke them. I do think this game goes over. So, all right. So we have some agreement there. Next up, the Giants and the Vikings. Now, all year long, Shawn, Jared was all over the Vikings. Yeah, my team, my team, my team. A couple of weeks ago, I remember him saying, I should have pulled the tape. I'm not going to bet the Giants in this game because I'm going to wait for them to show back up in there in the playoffs. We can beat them then. And then, of course, what does Jared do? He doesn't put anything on the game.
Wow. Jared, are you sure you don't want to bet that game?
No. I just want to watch it for fun and enjoy the upset of the weekend. Because it's an upset.
Oh, now he's all over the Giants too.
I think he's just trying to harm you because you moneylined them.
It just has. There's not going to be many upsets this week, and it just has the Vikings first round exit all over it. How many times do we see these teams that go 13-4, 12-5 that've been doubted all year? They get that first playoff game and they're out.
2007, Giants play the Patriots. They lose the game 38-35. 3 weeks later, this Giants team's back. They rested their starters last week. A garbage game. They almost beat the Eagles and screwed them out of the 1 seed. And they almost covered and beat the game. Well, they almost won that game without their starters. Now Barkley's back. Jones is back. The Giants are winning this game this weekend. And they're going to enjoy it.
That's how confident he is. He did invest.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the Giants have some of that playoff stuff you need. They got a good running game, got a good defense, and they're well coached. Daniel Jones hasn't made the mistakes, and Daniel Jones can also run, which creates a whole nother dimension as well. I think they are set up good for the playoffs here and better than the Vikings. The Vikings just have that choke job all over them every time they play.
No pressure, really. We weren't even supposed to be here. No pressure. Could play loose this whole game. No pressure.
And that's the other thing. Giants coaching staff, they do some trick plays and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of that and they jump out early and they get up and start running Barkley and the Vikings start to struggle a little bit. They press. The Vikings, when they get down and when they start to struggle, Cousins really – it's always been.
Can I ask
Cousins
you a question? Who in that Giants secondary is going to be able to handle Jefferson?
They're getting Adoree Jackson and McKinney back for this game. They're full strength in that secondary. They're going to have a pick six.
Who can handle him?
Yeah, but that's one guy. So multiple guys because they'll double team him or play some kind of coverage with people over the top. Give him his 10 catches, 100 yards, and
you do have the number 7 offense going up against a number 25 ranked defense on the road. I know there was a close game last time, but if I remember correctly, Minnesota got out to a really big lead, and then the Giants rallied to come back at the end, tie, and then they scored that late field goal.
Their offensive line is banged up. They don't have Dalvin Cook for this game. They're gonna rely on Jefferson. You're gonna take him out of the mix.
Cook. I didn't read that Dalvin Cook was out. Can we confirm
I think he's out this game. Yeah, I think he's injured with an ankle injury.
I'll look that up as we go.
Okay.
He's questionable. Usually questionable players.
Yeah,
they'll
play. Yeah, especially in this. I see no way that Dalvin Cook doesn't play if he's listed as questionable.
Mm-hmm.
When they're questionable and it's a game, they're playing, and he's always a little hurt. Plus, they have Madison too, so their running game will be okay. It's just I just see Giants as good value here, and I really expect them to win. Pretty amazing. Jared's best argument of this whole time is the one that he's not betting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like the Vikings.
I want to watch it and enjoy it as a fan.
The Vikings are the better team. The record says they're the better
it.
team. The statistics say the Vikings are the better team, and I'm getting them only laying 3 at home for a plus 100 line. To me, that feels like value. Maybe it's the sucker bet of the weekend. I don't know. I've been on the wrong side of everything lately, so I think it probably locks in Jared and Shawn's picks as the Giants winning. But what do you think, TJ? Who do you think, and what do you think? Who do you think the prime players are, and what the difference is in this game?
I am staying away from this game at all. Betting matters. Like they played earlier this year, it was definitely just one of those games that I just did not want to touch. If I'm going to do anything, I'm gonna tease those points up on the Giants and get that up to 9.5, 10.5, and just hope this game stays close, because I really just can't trust either Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins. And one day one team puts up 30, the next week they put up 3. I just want to stay away from these two teams.
Yeah, I just think the Vikings are the better team. I'm going to go with the Vikings at home. They seem like they have magic in the playoffs when they play crazy during the year. They were kind of wild this year, and it just seemed to me during the course of the year, like more often than not, the ball bounced their way. I mean, case in point is that Buffalo game where they fumbled on the 1 yard line and then turned around and turned it to a touchdown, and then won games they shouldn't have won.
Yeah, and circling back to Dalvin Cook, it looks like he was kicked by a spike in the Bears game. That's what the whole thing was about. He should be good to go this weekend.
Yeah, he's going to play.
He's going to have negative yards. He won't be running the ball though.
You want to bet?
What?
I'll take that bet. How much? So, Shawn, you're taking the Giants with the plus line on the money line. All right, so we're on the other side of things right now, and Shawn's got to feel good about that because, like I said, I've been cold and he's been red hot. So, TJ, he must have been listening to Rob Gronkowski on podcasts because he is absolutely just laying it all out. The Bengals first half, Bengals second half, just Bengals. And you're from Pittsburgh. You got the Pittsburgh hat on. You can't pull for Cincinnati. They're going to kick you out of town.
The crazy part is I'm from Baltimore. I just grew up a Steelers fan.
So what do you like? Did you listen to Rob Gronkowski? Is that where where all the love comes from for Cincinnati?
No, just like we were talking about earlier, I think they're one of the most complete teams in the league right now, and they're definitely one of the best teams in the playoffs right now. And just, I think they have something to play for. And the Ravens,
win streak, right? They're a 12-game win streak now, something like that.
They're on a crazy streak right now. But yeah, no, I just can't trust the Ravens to put up points. And even though they did a little last week, but the Bengals kind of let off the gas pedal, and I think in the playoffs they're just going to keep the throttle going and kind of just steamroll over the Ravens and on to the next week.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the Bengals are the most complete team. They can run, they can throw. They have the dynamic guy on the outside with Jamar Chase. Like to see Hayden Hurst show a little bit of his burst. I think he could add to that offense there a little bit. Defensively, they're playing pretty well on that side of the rock as well. And I also, reading in the papers, I kind of found it interesting. Sammy Watkins, claimed off of waivers, brought to the Ravens, and he's out in the papers kind of hammering on Lamar a little bit. Did you guys catch that?
I did not catch that.
I saw that quote saying if Lamar was paid, he'd probably be playing this weekend.
Which you got to think that, to me, that reeks of a little bit of animosity in the locker room. Maybe they play hard because Lamar's not playing, or do you think that kind of tears them apart because Lamar's not playing?
I think it's 50-50. One side of the team's going to be on Lamar, and the other is going to be like, yo, we could really use you, but we'll prove that we don't.
Yeah, I kind of lean that way too. What do you say, Shawn?
Yeah, actually, to me, if I see that as other teams, and I think that's the reason, I don't throw a boatload of money at this guy. This is the playoffs. He should be playing if he can play. So I never understood why teams are still, there'll still be 25 teams in this league that will try to get him. But to me, he's showing his true colors if he could.
He's going to go to the Jets, Shawn.
He may. Jets are
The guy
listed
making a
9
statement
teams.
and saying I'm more valuable. He's playing the game. I'm gonna sit out and you'll see how valuable I am. And you'll either give me a big contract or I'll get that contract somewhere else because this is how they
But
play
listen,
the game.
if I'm throwing a ton of money at somebody, I want somebody that wants to win a championship. And obviously that's not his overall goal here. His overall goal is himself and money. And I understand they're their own business and that's what you got to take care of. But he's going to make a boatload of money either way. You got a shot. You could beat with Lamar Jackson here, they could beat the Bengals. I'd be a little bit more afraid of it.
I don't think they could beat the Bengals coming off a long break like that.
No.
And if you're another team, just as another GM, my concern about him is when you get behind, his inaccuracies make it tough for them to catch up. So you have to basically, no matter who you are, minus Baltimore, you're going to have to create essentially a whole new offense for him because they don't run an offense that a lot of other teams in the league run. And B, he's a smallish guy, or C, or maybe I'm on D now, I don't know. But he's a smallish guy for the NFL, and he's starting to get hurt. And in the NFL, these smallish guys, once they start getting hurt, it may not be next year, but the hurts keep coming and they keep missing time and more time and more time.
Yep.
And they say the most important ability is availability. So whatever you're paying him, I think you have to expect that at most going forward, he's likely to play 80% in the season. Do you guys
Look
see
at
that
Justin
as
Fields.
What's that?
I said, look at Justin Fields this year, carrying a lot of the ball and getting hurt plenty of times. Look back at RG3, you know, how that derailed his career. I mean, right now with the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, it's like every year he's got something going on. So, like you said, the best availability is actually being there for your team.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm always concerned about them small guys in a big man's league. Once they start getting the parts start breaking down, they start breaking down everywhere. The bigger dudes. Even I worry about Josh Allen because that guy's a big dude and he doesn't even he tries to truck people, and eventually he's going to take a shot that could change
he doesn't slide.
Yeah, that he can eventually take. But the thing is, Josh Allen's bigger than most dudes he's hitting once he gets past that defensive line, so he's delivering the blow. But eventually he's going to get his too, and if it's the wrong shot, that knee could go out, that hip could go out. Could be in for a big problem. I would much rather, if I were the Bills, that he didn't do that, and I certainly wouldn't call plays like that because he's got a big enough arm. He's getting accurate enough that he could sit back in the pocket and run. Only when he needs to, like as a last resort. I think he can sit back in the pocket and force throws if he had to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shawn.
And the other thing with Lamar Jackson too, as far as free agency, his MO has always been he's a regular season quarterback, and then come games like this, he would lose them anyway. So that's another reason. I mean, all these teams are going to throw a boatload of money at him, and somebody's going to get him. And I just would not do it. And it might be the Jets, so I may be really not happy about this, or hoping. And
then next year you'll be singing his praises. I told you. I told you.
No, I won't say I told you. I'll just say, "Whoo! I'm glad this is working out so far. Now let's get us to the Super Bowl and not lose in the first round like he typically does."
All right, Jared. What side of this game are you on?
I mean, I think we made all the points. You don't have Lamar. You don't have a guy that's going to keep the chain moving with his legs. They got no running game. They got no wide receivers. I mean,
they did rest J.K. Dobbins last week just for this game.
This is a bad matchup. This screams like Cincinnati to take a big dump all over them and royally. I mean, this is not going to be explosive. This is going to be an explosive game for Cincinnati, not so much for the Baltimore Ravens. This is another one of those blowout games, and it's really not going to be something you want to watch.
Well, you have the under in this game, so you better hope they don't blow them out too much.
Well, not too much, but enough. You could see. I could see a 28-0 game, 28-7, something like that.
In the last game of the night, go ahead, Shawn. You're going to say something, man?
The only thing I'd say about not wanting to watch is it might not be great on paper, but this is what's great about betting. If we have the Bengals, it's going to be a great game if you're going to win a bet. So
not for me because I'll be winning for 59 minutes and 30 seconds.
He's playing it the right way. I can't knock him. He's make logical sense, man. He's going to bank it. Oh, no question about that.
Like I said, it's not fun for me, Shawn, because I'll be winning for 59 minutes and 30 seconds.
Rich is getting the basketball.
Rich is getting bad beats.
Turn the game on the last minute for your torture. Don't watch the first 59 minutes.
Extra points missed.
Just unbelievable. All right, last game of the weekend, wild card weekend. The Cowboys travel down to Tampa Bay. I think that's where they started the season. So is this where they're going to end the season, Shawn?
Yes. Yeah. Again, Dallas ain't playing all that great. They always seem to choke in the playoffs. And here's the thing. I have said this from the beginning.
I don't think you can make the argument that this is a game, one team is playing well and the other team is not. They're both playing like crap.
Okay. Understandable. But did Dallas really want to
take the floor on this and explain your hypothesis why Dallas? Well, you won't like Dallas doing this game, but you've been all over Dak Prescott's inconsistencies all year, so you should just take the floor on this one.
Dak is inconsistent, and he'll probably throw an interception for a touchdown for Tampa Bay. He's becoming the new Jameis Winston, unfortunately, throwing as many interceptions as he does touchdowns. But just looking at the two teams, the Cowboys are definitely the more talented of the two teams. I think on defense, they do have some playmakers over there. I don't know that Tampa Bay has any playmakers on defense. Secondly, the Buccaneers can pretty much win this game one way, and that is it's a low-scoring game. It's 17-14, or they're within 14 points with 2 minutes to go, Tampa Bay. Then they still have a shot. But I just feel like the Cowboys' offense is more inclined to score points. And if either team is going to get into the 20s, they probably make easy work of the well, let's put it this way. If it's a high-scoring – if any team scores a lot of points, it's going to be the Cowboys. And the way that Tampa Bay has struggled to put points up on the board – if the Cowboys can get into the 20s, 23, 24, I think the Buccaneers are going to have a real hard time getting to them. If the Cowboys can get ahead and turn them into solely a passing team, and sometimes the Buccaneers are just a passing team, I think they can get after Brady. They can cause some turnovers and then take this game apart. If the Buccaneers win, it's going to be 17-14, something like that. So I think the Cowboys just have more ways to win than Tampa Bay does. And I know Brady's never lost to the Cowboys, so I'm probably just wishful thinking. Anyway, what do you think, TJ?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely staying away from this game as well. If I had to go one way, I'm taking the Buccaneers money line. I really think after the way the Cowboys played against the Commanders, it was really ugly. They were out like 6 defensive starters. They were on their third-string quarterback, Sam Howell. There's a lot of things that I just don't like about Cowboys. I mean, starting with Dak and leading the league in interceptions, but only playing 12 games. There's just a lot. And, just covering CeeDee Lamb really
their pass
struggles.
Rush totally evaporated the second half of the year. Completely evaporated. Mika Parsons is on the boat.
You better hope you never run into him because Mika will whoop your ass.
Well,
hey, what they could really use right now is another receiver, kind of like Amari Cooper or something. That would really help them now.
Yeah, though, I think maybe T.Y. Hilton might prove to be a little bit more effective than people thought because he does still have some burners to him. I think the key really, and to me, on offense, losing Pollard is probably a big hit for them on the offensive side of the ball because is he going to play this week? I know he's been injured and it was questionable, Shawn.
Yeah, he was questionable. I saw that.
But I had read somewhere that they were planning for him not to be around for the most of the playoffs.
Well, that's a real big problem.
But I don't know last week, so I don't know. What do you see on that, Shawn?
So, I'm trying to find that here.
Now let me see. I think. Go ahead, Shawn. What are you going to say?
But about this game, I've said from the beginning, the playoffs with Prescott at quarterback and Mike McCarthy as a coach. McCarthy's a horrible coach, and the playoffs it's going to show. There's only one thing that helped Dallas in this case. There's another bad coach along that sideline. As a Jets fan, I can tell you Todd Bowles never deserves another job in the NFL, and he's proven it this year with how Tampa's doing. But I will also say a couple weeks ago against the Panthers when Tampa needed to play, Brady did hook up with Mike Evans on some deep balls and for 3 touchdowns. That was a good sign right there. And the playoffs are on. Brady's going to hit that switch. Nobody wanted to play Tampa. And this is a bad matchup for Dallas.
Except
on Monday
Atlanta
night.
last week. I mean, they struggled against Atlanta even with the starters. No, it looks like Pollard's not even on the injury report. So,
so
I don't know what I was reading there. So he's pretty hard. I think that makes a difference.
But last week they played
Brady and Evans are they're hard.
Chris Goodwin.
Man.
Chris Goodwin. Chris Goodwin. Chris Goodwin.
Or they're great with each other.
Yeah, agreed. And last week they played like most of the first half, but then they gave up after that. And they were beating Atlanta before they left. The primetime Cowboys always seem to choke. I told you, Prescott and McCarthy. I know Bowles is on the other side, but I'll take Brady. Out of all that, I'm taking Brady. It's the playoffs. He's starting to look a little bit better. And, that run game started to go away. But when Tampa was effective earlier in the year, they were running the ball. That was one of their only effective. They have a young guy in there, and Fournette. Fournette's healthy, should be healthy to get 20 carries in this game. I see Tampa winning, and I'm getting plus value for it. I just think this is a bad matchup for Dallas, and we're going to have the same old Dallas lose in the first round, and all the talk surrounding Dallas. It will be the biggest story of the weekend, and it will be on Monday night.
What do you think, TJ? You're staying away from that game. You would take the Bucs and Shawn. And what about you, Mr. Jared?
It's Brady. They're home.
So I'm on an island by myself.
Same old story. Cowboys out in the first round. Giants playing the Eagles next week, and I can't wait.
Oh, my Lord. Wishful thinking for sure.
Well, on that aspect, too, it does look like the Eagles would either play Dallas or the Giants, most likely, because one of them are probably going to win. And if you're the Eagles, that's not what you want either. You don't want that first-round bye and then have to play a division rival. I mean, all the Eagles fans can say what they want on how Dallas and the Giants are playing, but I don't think you want a division rival that first week in the playoffs like that.
Well, my son was telling me about a cycle for the Cowboys. There's a couple teams that had cycles this year where they 1-2, lost 1, 1-4, lost 1, 1-4. Well, apparently the cycle that the Cowboys were on, I think it was 4-2, 4-2, something like that.
Yeah.
Next up is that they win all the way through the Super Bowl if that cycle repeats itself. So that's why I took them, because they're in the cycle, baby.
Are you going to play them all the way through then?
Why not?
I'll say.
First of all, if they do play a little bit better, if they snap back, because in the playoffs, it just takes one game to get yourself back to get momentum. If they win this game against the Buccaneers, beating Brady, I think the vanquished, the almighty GOAT, then they can go off and play Philadelphia. But I don't think the Giants are going to beat Minnesota. But let's say they go off and play the Eagles. They know they can beat the Eagles because they've already done it. I know Gardner Minshew was the backup quarterback in that game, but when Dallas went into Philadelphia with Cooper Rush, they were in that game too. So backup versus backup. If you get bought, maybe I would rather have Cooper Rush as a Cowboys fan, but backup versus backup. Now you're going to have starter versus starter. Cowboys know they can beat the Eagles. There's no question about that. And I don't think the Eagles would want to see them either. And then if they play the 49ers, the Cowboys actually have a decent offensive line. That is the weakness for the 49ers, and I think they could exploit that secondary. Dak might actually look okay. So they would have a shot to get there. And I think if the Eagles have a good offensive line too, if they get in there against the 49ers, I think the 49ers will struggle to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. And if they do, he'll just outrun everybody to the corner, and then they'll have a difficult time containing him. So I think it's probably the Eagles, but I can see if the Cowboys get by the Buccaneers, them making it there as well.
You just don't want to see the 49ers there. There'll be a lot of YouTube clips floating around about you being anti-49ers all year long.
He doesn't want to hear Terry's bullshit. That's why he's ruined.
If they get there, they get there. I hope for Terry and for Charles, they do get there because they get a lot of joy out of it. I just don't think that you can play that schedule. That was that was a soft ass. It was about as soft a schedule as you can get.
So was the Eagles, though. The Eagles was a soft schedule too. So.
Hey,
now, how can you say that?
And the Niners beat the
hardest
Seahawks.
division in football.
Yeah, but that division was playing. No wonder why they're
three playoff teams. And you're
why
saying
do they have
Eagles
three
had
playoff
easy
teams?
schedule.
Because of the divisions they were playing. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but the divisions they were playing what? The AFC South, right? I think they were playing the AFC South. Yeah. So, okay. Mm-hmm. So there's 3-4 wins right there for almost all those teams. And who was the division they played in the NFC? I have to look this up, but
they played the Bears. They
NFC
played
North.
Vikings.
So you play in the Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings, and most of those teams
which is better than Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams.
all who I have to play next season. All of them I get to play next season.
That's a horrible conference out there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a reason that Dallas Eagles and Giants were all winning and able to be the playoffs too, and that's part of it.
I can tell you, if half of the NFC had the same schedule as the 49ers did, they would all be all winning teams.
Yeah, but okay, who did the 49ers?
My son and I did the homework on this. You know what? If you take out Kansas City, and that just Kansas City, do you know what how many games under 500 the opponents are cumulative versus the 49ers?
Go ahead. What?
Minus 60. 60 games under 500. 60. Throw in the Kansas City team, and it's like minus 50 under 500. That is god awful.
Yeah, but you know what, Rich? That defense is so good.
But of course it's good. They play crap offenses.
But that defense, like they're opportunistic.
Let me tell you something.
They turn the mistakes of their opponents into points.
Look great against weak competition, but when they play good
competition,
they don't look so good no more.
You can make a comparison to the 2000 Ravens. The offense was not as great, but the defense was so good, it didn't matter. That 49ers defense is scary.
This defense is not on the same caliber as the Ravens. You're talking about an all-time great defense. This is not an all-time great defense.
The only thing I'll say about I understand your argument with San Fran, and they played the NFC South, which is absolutely a horrible division. And then they played the AFC West. But did the Eagles even play anybody as good as the Chiefs? No. So, I mean, San Fran did have that. And they did play the Chargers.
They got beat by 20 points.
Yeah, I understand that. But
did they play, or they just showed up to collect a check? What do you think, TJ? Where do you stand on this?
Hey, I can definitely see a Niners Kansas City Chiefs rematch Super Bowl. Like, it's very possible that defense leads them all the way. I know you're talking about the secondary, but that pass rush, a lot of these quarterbacks, I mean, even Tom Brady's line is just really, really bad. And anything can really happen. The only quarterback that I find a real threat in the NFC besides Brady is Jalen Hurts. So it's going to be tough.
Everybody's over to 49ers. Huh? All right. Well, let's see if a rookie can do what a rookie's never done before.
The other thing I find what you said about Cincinnati's winning streak, I looked it up. It's 8. So since he's won 8, so since he wins the Super Bowl, they'd have to win 12 games in a row to end the year, and that's always difficult to do. So,
well, now they just
I don't know if I'm Burrow. I got confidence. I've beaten Mahomes twice. He can beat Josh Allen on a good day, so we'll see what happens.
Well, they might have beat Josh Allen. They were definitely ahead, and they were looking good, and they looked like they were not.
They were moving the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if the AFC Championship's any of that matchup, I think it's just going to be a great game, and it will be, back and forth. And I know people are mad that if it is Kansas City Buffalo, it'll be a neutral field, and they pick the dome when, an inside stadium when it should be outside.
They both play outside.
Yeah, but let's face it, the inside's going to be more fun anyway. They're both more offensive teams. Let them go back and forth. Let's see a 52-45 AFC Championship game.
Well, like I said, I think Kansas City does have the cleanest path because Cincinnati and Buffalo are going to have to square up against each other somewhere if they don't get upset along the way. And on the other side of the ledger, you don't have anybody like that really for Kansas City. They're going to have to face off against. Who could they catch? The Jaguars? That would be if everything goes, according to the seeds.
I guess they could catch the Chargers too. And I mean, I know they screw things up a lot, but they have the talent. We've all, for a couple of years now, said how
they've competed against each other.
Yeah, and they've been good games too, so wouldn't be a surprise.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the only team I really think.
That's your main thing there, TJ. How your division foes, the Cincinnati, you're going to be pulling for them all the way through. All right, well that wraps it up for this week. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? TJ, any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
Yeah, a couple of single player parlays that I was thinking of, like prop parlays. Mm-hmm. I like McCaffrey to score a touchdown. Austin Eckler, I know they're like minus 145. There's also Justin Jefferson. I think he'll get 100 yards. I really think, they're going to have to throw the ball. And Jamar Chase, another one, get 70 yards and a touchdown. Just a couple of players I thought. Even Josh Allen running one in. He's been running the ball quite a few times ever since he banged up that elbow. So I can really see some of these touchdowns happen this weekend.
How about a Jamar Chase 70-yard touchdown?
Anything's possible in that game.
Yeah, I mean that kid. I mean, he seems to make big plays, right? He's a big player. So
he can take a slant to the house.
For sure. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a touchdown over 40 yards from Shawn. Looks like you were going to jump in on that parade of player props.
Well, what I'll say is I already said I got 2 really good bets this weekend, which I know when I feel really good, something always upsets. But San Fran, Cincinnati, Buffalo parlay, just money line. You'll get close to even money. And then the 6-point teaser, you get plus 600 for is just 6-point teaser. Take San Fran, then it's minus 3.5. Jacksonville plus 8.5. Buffalo giving up a touchdown. Giants plus 9. Bengals minus 2.5, and Tampa plus 8.5. I don't see how that. I don't see how that loses, which means it will lose.
Daniel Jones over 85 yards rushing, and Barkley over 125 on the ground. You can bank that.
I did this early. I did this yesterday, I think, and Buffalo was minus 13 at that point. So
but
6
still,
points.
If you're teasing Buffalo, why would you lose points?
I'm getting 6 points to my favor. So
now you're getting
Buffalo it went from
plus
13.5 to 7.5.
I get it. So you're getting Buffalo's getting points in that case.
Right, like
I thought you were going from giving
I'm still
13 to giving 6, and I'm like, well, why would you do that?
No, he went from minus 13.5 to minus 7.5.
Which still doesn't make sense to me.
Because when you 6-point tease, it goes to 6 points to your favor of whatever team.
So you get an alternate line.
If Buffalo is minus 13 and you took Buffalo, if it goes 6 points to your favor, shouldn't it go to I get it because they're only giving. Never mind. It's just
I'm giving not that.
All right, now I get it. All righty. Now, what about you, Jared? Do you have any player props?
Daniel Jones over 85 yards rushing, and Barkley over 125 on the ground.
You guys haven't been
big odds.
You guys haven't been homers all year long. I've been accused of being a homer with the Jets, which I'm not. You guys haven't. You waited to the playoffs, which I can say I'm not in the playoffs at all.
Hey,
but you guys, the homer came out today.
I bet the Cowboys throughout the course of the year.
I didn't bet on the game, right? Shawn. No, I'm watching it as a fan. I didn't bet on it.
You've been more critical of the Cowboys than me.
No, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. But you both waited to the playoffs. Now you're both saying how you guys are going to roll here.
No, I didn't.
Jared's been.
Tampa Bay.
Come on, Shawn. I haven't smelt the playoffs in 6 years. Am I entitled to have a little bit of excitement?
Jared's been anti-Giants all year. Who are they going to throw to? Everything
in the beginning of the year, Shawn, I was getting text from him. So when Jared texts you, it's not like a complete sentence, right? It's flow of consciousness. Hey, Rich, Giants, boom. Yeah, touchdown, Barkley. Yay, Daniel Jones, big run. They can't stop him. Woo! That's the kind of text. It's like ding, 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 ding. It's like I feel like I'm getting one of those alerts from the local police. My phone is dinging so quick.
Hey, speaking of the Giants, I like Isaiah Hodgins anytime touchdown scorer.
Boom,
he's really been starring up.
There you go.
He's like plus 230. Yeah, I really like him.
Like a good one. That's
bank
the kind
that.
I like.
Bank. You can bank that. Bank that.
Now he just screwed you, TJ. Stay as far away from that as you possibly can.
That'd be the starting receiver next season. Where did he come from?
Because he's got Dalvin Cook on the bench. Oh yes, I'm betting that one. This is a lock. You're done.
I can't wait for the days we're making money and we have a producer that can insert some sounds, because Jared doing that right there, there would have been some funny sounds right there.
Or at least the replay.
Hey man, if it goes my way and it works out, I'm going to Philadelphia next weekend for that game. Let's put it that way.
In a Giants jersey?
I'm going in to Philadelphia with my Giants shit.
Oh boy, you're gonna come back. He's gonna look like a raccoon.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So that wraps it up for the NFL this week. We certainly look forward to getting off the snide. Hopefully, I can win one game this week. TJ,
hey, but you've been really good with your basketball. Are you going to
stay with us, TJ, throughout the playoffs? I'm glad that Freddie or Jason hasn't shown up yet, so we better get you out of here before they do. But you plan on joining us for the whole playoff run here?
Yeah, if I'm welcomed, absolutely. I love it here.
Oh no, you're always welcome, my man. We're just kind of on a sidebar, because Shawn and I, Shawn gets a little bit agitated by the things people put online sometimes. We have these conversations back, and I'm like, dude, don't sweat it. I say, you know what? People can criticize all they want, right? let them criticize. And because we do horse racing too, as you know, TJ, and thank you for going on the show with Shawn and Julie the other night. I appreciate that. But I've often said to people when they criticize us, hey, we have an open door policy. If you can do better, DM us, right? Come on the show. Put your name on it. Back it up. Don't sit behind a keyboard typing away like some badass. Come on, put your name on it and freaking own it. If it's so easy, please come
own it.
Right, come and own it.
Yep,
Jared
absolutely.
owns it, baby, for all of his.
I own it all wins or losses. I've owned it all season.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you haven't done so yet, please bang the subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the bell so when we go live, you are notified. Follow us on our social media sites. You see them down there. Horse Race, the number 2 today. Horse Race today. Our goal for 2023 is to get to 10,000 across the board. So please tell your friends about us as well. Win or lose, then I feel sorry for the Lions. Yeah, me too. They got screwed that first week against Philadelphia. That game goes another way. They're in the playoffs. But in any case, I'm going to pick them again next year to win the NFC, and they probably will, but they won't be plus 700 next year. All right, guys, that wraps it up. No horse racing show tomorrow because, unfortunately, I didn't win the handicapping contest today. Oh, that sucked. But you've been
doing okay with basketball. Your parlays haven't been that bad.
Like today, I had a bunch of 5-1, 6-1, 7-1s that I would hit to start the pick 3 or the pick 4, and I'd get to like 2 into it, and then I'd lose the third one by a nose. Or when I played a trifecta, I'd have the first one and then the third and the fourth one, and just get missed. It was just one of those days where you can pick winners, but you just couldn't put the right bets together or string winners together. So hopefully tomorrow I can fix that. Hopefully tomorrow I can fix my losing in the NFL. And hopefully when we come back on Monday, Terry and I for Parks, I will qualify for Las Vegas tomorrow. I will win all of my bets this week, and then the Cowboys will beat the Buccaneers. And that's how I'm ending it and how I'm hanging up my hat. Speaking of hats, there's a link down below. Please support the show. Get your horse racing today gear. Not that crap that you got on. All right.
Well, and then we got a great lineup for Horse Center next week, too. Jamie's on a cruise, so Julie will be back. Monday, we have Deshaun Parker on again. He returns. Tuesday, we have Katie Davis McCarthy. She's been on other shows of ours, but never Horse Center, so that'll be the first time there. And then Wednesday, trainer David Fawkes.
So it'll be a good week for sure. And then shortly, we're going to be heading off to Tampa Bay and Gulfstream Park for a little bit of behind the scenes. Going to come out with some great new content, so keep your eye out for that. Probably be out sometime in February. I will be down at Tampa Bay Downs with Jamie and company on February the 1st, I think, Shawn, is that right? And then on the 4th or 5th, we'll be at Gulfstream Park that Saturday. So that Wednesday, February 1st. So make sure if you're in the area, come say hi to us. We certainly would love to say hello. Shake hands, say hello. Maybe you can buy us a drink. I don't drink, so it won't cost you nothing. But if Jared came, you'd be broke.
Right. I would say, hey, come on, give me some Woodford Reserve. Let's go.
All right, well, that wraps it up. No matter what you're doing this weekend, you're trying your luck at a handicapping contest. You're trying for these player props a la TJ. You're going to sit and just root for the stinky Giants because you haven't smelled the playoffs in 8 years. Or like Shawn, you're just going to win everything. We hope that it ends up in the
end zone.
Thank you, Jared. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Boys.